police say they have captured the gunman who opened fire in a South Florida high school. Everybody, I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. We want to warn you, some of the video you're about to see in regards to the shooting in Florida may be disturbing. The Broward County Sheriff has confirmed there are at least 14 victims. He did not share the extent of their injuries. Police evacuated Marjorie Stoneham Douglas High School in Parkland, one building at a time. Students came running with their hands up. Police say they have captured the shooter, but the area is still an active scene. Police telling parents to wait for their children not far from the school, and if parents are in contact with students, police say they need to keep them calm.
She answered the phone just trembling and in shock that she saw people being shot at, and luckily she was able to make it out.
Now, the Broward County Sheriff just got done speaking, saying the shooter was not a current student of the high school. He added that the situation is still fluid. The police are still clearing that school, which the sheriff calls one of the biggest in all of Broward County. He says he's anticipating that there are dead people inside of the school as well as there were outside. We will, of course, bring you any updates as they come in during our newscast and on News Center Maine at 5:30 and at 6 o'clock.
Okay, in other news today, a daycare facility shut down after someone brought what may have been marijuana cookies to the center.
Yeah, Tennyson Coleman spoke with police and joins us now live. Tennyson, any chance that the kids might have gotten into some of these cookies?
Guys, police say none of the children at Watch Me Shine Daycare ate any of the cookies. However, someone at the daycare called police because staff reported what felt like a marijuana high after eating the baked goods. Police say a parent gave several batches of homemade cookies to the employees this morning. As a precaution, the daycare called parents and sent all the children home. Detectives were at the daycare all morning, but have not been able to confirm if the cookies contain marijuana just yet.
We have collected the cookies, the baked goods that were the cookies that were left and hadn't been eaten yet. We've collected them and they will be sent to the lab for further testing to confirm whether or not they have been tainted by anything at all, to include marijuana.
How long does that usually take?
It depends. The lab's generally busy every day of the week. It could be within a few days, or actually could be just a few weeks.
I talked to the daycare owner, Tiffany Nowicki, on the phone. She says going forward, outside food will not be allowed on the premises. Guys, back to you.
All right, Tennyson, thanks so much for that. Someone in Illinois is suing LL Bean because of the change in its return policy late last week.
Yeah, it's a class action lawsuit that they're calling the new policy deceptive and unfair. Chris Costa here now, and seems like there's an easy answer to this question.
Yeah, according to a company spokesperson, Lindsay, if you purchased a product from LL Bean before the policy changed, that product is still covered under the old restrictions, which there weren't many to begin with. Now, many of you still have questions about this policy change, specifically some of the details, and we wanted to look into them. Coming unraveled. Customers upset over a change in return policy. The outdoor equipment giant LL Bean dials back the generosity, creating confusion.
I don't like it because I personally don't carry receipts. So if I feel like I have to return something and I don't have the receipt, then I'm out.
That's not entirely true, according to company spokespeople.
Typically, if somebody has a receipt or if they gave some customer information when they purchased the product, we would have them in the system.
The Maine-based retailer gives customers two options when it comes to proof of purchase. Hold on to your receipt or provide your email and your address when asked for it at checkout. They put that info in a database to track your purchases for at least 4 years. On social media, a flurry of flustered customers turning their backs on Beans because of the change. However,
if they were purchased before February 9th, they are not subject to the new one-year restriction.
You can still return or exchange anything you bought before they announced the new rules. Another one of the big changes was the disappearance of free shipping. A lot of people were questioning that as well. There's a new minimum purchase of $50 on any product before it can be eligible for free shipping. That still applies to purchases made in the brick and mortar store that you then want to ship somewhere else. However, if you can't find that item in one of the stores and it costs less than $50, the company will actually waive that fee for you. If you have any more questions, make sure you email us at asknow@newscentermaine.com.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. So if you're taking your special someone out for Valentine's Day dinner tonight, I mean,
are you taking your lovely partner to the Ozone?
Anyway, if I were, I would check in with Keith and Braindrops later on because he's going to tell us what main city has the best restaurants.
And?
All that stuff goes to my head is, what could I have done?
She had only reconnected with her brother a year before he was taken from her by a gunman. News Center Now's Unsolved Homicide series coming up.
Our familiar habitat here and Braindrops. And today's is a relatively light but cool topic. It's not a white screen.
I was going to say, it doesn't look very exciting.
Yelp did all this cool data of different cities across the country and what their trends were in chains versus non-chains. And so what you're seeing is just an easy visual representation of ratings for non-chain restaurants going up, while chain restaurants went down across the board, but mostly in Portland, much more than other cities. Look at Honolulu, it's a slower situation there. No surprise also, Portland making its way onto this list of great foodie cities in the country. And the scale is so different. I mean, you're talking about Boston and New York City and then Portland, right? And Portland, fast growth from number 45 last year to up to 15 this year. And check out this last graphic. I think this is a great way of presenting data, even though it's slightly confusing if you look at it at first. It is fast food domination, so basically shows you, okay, fast food is 35% in New York, it's about 40% in Portland. If you look at it as a whole, it shows you that Portland has some of the fewest chain restaurants per capita in the country, and it's on the list with some real big boy cities, so it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Big boy cities.
Very nice.
All right. Unsolved Homicide investigation continues when we come back.
In Portland, 43% of murders from the last decade are unsolved. That's a higher percentage of unsolved murders than in Bangor, in the state, and the country. News Center Now is dedicating a week of coverage to the victims of those unsolved murders and their families who are searching for answers. This is David Anderson's story.
Hi, my name is Kelly Turner. I am David Anderson's sister. My brother was murdered on March 15, 2016. I got up early in the morning to go to work and I looked on my Facebook and I saw wrapped David.
That's how Kelly Turner found out her brother had been murdered, from his friends' posts on Facebook.
Funny, loving, caring. He would give you the shirt off his back.
She had only met her half-brother David 1 year prior.
He was finally where a place that I could actually meet him.
David struggled.
Heroin, cocaine, ecstasy. He tried everything.
After years of talking over the phone, Kelly finally met her brother. They quickly got to know one another, only to have that growing relationship ripped away.
I just wish that I had more time with him, but I didn't.
David was killed at an apartment on Gilman Street. He had been staying there with his girlfriend. They struggled to find a steady place because of their addiction. Police say someone approached the apartment that night. David went to answer the door. Before he could turn the knob, someone opened fire.
The difficulty in this particular case is that no one in the apartment saw the shooter.
Police reached out to the public for help, posting a picture of surveillance footage on the department's Facebook page. David's case is one of 11 unsolved homicides in Portland in the last decade.
Because he was a drug addict.
Kelly feels like her brother's case is not a priority.
I feel like people who live that lifestyle get pushed on the back burner. If he was rich or lived a better life, maybe he'd be a priority.
Assistant Police Chief Vern Malik insists a person's lifestyle doesn't affect the way the department investigates.
Whether or not someone's homeless, whether or not they're a drug addict, whether or not they're anything, doesn't matter to us. We're going to investigate that crime because we feel like it's important to get the perpetrators off the streets.
News Center Maine spent 6 months collecting and analyzing data on the city of Portland's homicides from 2007 to 2017. In that time, nearly half of cases went unsolved. Why? Malik says drug-related cases are tougher to close.
I don't know if that's because people are less willing to come forward and cooperate, but certainly many of the unsolved cases involve drugs.
Our investigation shows that in that 10-year period, about 11% of Portland's homicide cases are drug-related, including David Anderson's death.
That was one of my biggest fears, of losing him to that or a drug overdose, and I kept begging him to get out of that.
The surveillance pictures didn't yield many results for detectives, but the assistant chief says the case is active.
But there have been no arrests.
Do you feel like you're close to any arrest?
I will say that that investigation is currently still active and being worked.
Still, Kelly's disappointed in the limited information she's received from the department.
I feel like they should be more updating, us.
She wants an answer to the question that keeps her up at night. Who killed her brother?
When I reach out, call back and let me know.
She was looking forward to getting to know him, but instead has to live her life without him around.
Having my wedding was very hard. Sorry. He wasn't there. And I wish he was.
Kelly's convinced that someone knows something they're not saying and says she won't rest until she knows what happened.
I wonder if he's at peace, because I know I'm not, and I won't until we get justice.
Tomorrow in this series, we're going to hear Brian Garcia's story. He was killed almost exactly 1 year ago. And if you want more information on David Anderson's case or any of the stories we've shown this week, that's available on our websites and mobile apps.
Unbelievable stories, and great of these families to reach out and be willing to talk to you and share these personal experiences with you.
Absolutely. It's so hard for them too.
All right. Thank you.
All right, sneaky warm today in spots over southern Maine. Mid-40s in Portland, officially 46 in Portsmouth and 40 in Bangor. So yeah, not breaking any records here, but for the middle part of February when it can be snowing pretty heavily, not so bad. Satellite picture, let's show you, there you go. Satellite picture looking relatively clean right now. High pressure sliding out of the way. Tomorrow is a more cloudy day with an isolated sprinkle as we're between two systems, one to the north of Quebec and one to the south of southern New England. But because we're kind of splitting the uprights here, I don't think we'll see much moisture, just an isolated shower through Thursday and Thursday afternoon, and it's still mild tomorrow in the mid and upper 40s. Then on Friday we see a little rain moving in, and that rain continues through the middle part of the day before temperatures crash on Friday afternoon in place for Saturday, which will be a bright but much colder day under a ridge of high pressure. So hour by hour forecast temperatures tonight, not really that chilly. We don't drop very much at all, staying around freezing tomorrow morning in the mid-30s. And then notice the cloud cover and just an isolated sprinkle of possibility, again, largely in the mountains and maybe over down east Maine. But those temperatures pretty nice in the mid-40s, right around 40 in Bar Harbor as well. And then that continues to stay mild on Friday with the rain moving through and temperatures at that point maybe near 50 degrees for a brief period of time before they crash back down. Still watching a storm system for the weekend. The Euro versus the GFS, you know who I pick in that battle most of the time. I think it will largely slide to our south. We'll keep an eye on it for you. And look at this, guys. This is just pure entertainment. Pure entertainment. Please know this. Look at the European model on Wednesday afternoon. Okay, now hold that thought, and now watch what the GFS has. Come on, clicker, don't fail me now. Look at that.
30
that is
degrees.
35-degree difference. I love it. Hopefully we can get some clarity on that. You know, the weekend looks pretty decent. We'll watch Sunday again. I'll put it as cloudy right now. You know, my younger years, Lee, I would have put 68 on Wednesday, but I'm not feeling it quite yet. We'll keep an eye on it and see who wins that battle.
Not confident we'll get that hot.
No, it literally has never happened before in February, so there's that. Yeah. Lee, I see the sparkle in your eyes.
Come on. All right, thank you.
Well, in your house, a Valentine for every kid probably means one for them and then one for all their classmates.
That's a lot. But at the State House today, a Valentine for every kid has a deeper meaning.
Hey!
3-year-old Anthony is excited because it's
Valentine's Day.
Showing off his cards he got at daycare.
Aiden gift this to me.
David and Julie were formerly Anthony's foster parents.
He's just one of the family now.
They adopted him 1 year ago. There are more than 1,600 Maine children in foster care, according to the Department of Health and Human Services. At the State House, hundreds of hearts are on display to represent each of those children.
There are a lot of kids in care, and there are a lot of kids that need our support and our love.
Hannah Pelletier says it's looked like Valentine's Day at her house since last fall. when she and her husband started making all these hearts.
It means more to me to see it visually.
The pink and red display organized by a group of past and present foster parents.
I just want to kind of help everybody else who's kind of in care, kind of transition to adulthood.
Kyle Snyder and Stephanie Gerard were foster kids themselves and now help others transitioning out of the system to adulthood across the state.
It's something I find so much passion in doing.
Go, go, go! Anthony is a long way from 18, and he's busy burning off all his energy from lollipops and candy hearts. It's no bother for David and Julie, because for any parent, there's no treat as sweet as a happy kid. In our next half hour, News Center Maine will have the latest on the shooting that has claimed the lives of high school students in Florida.
Yeah, and here in Maine, there's a big battle over the Down East Correctional Facility. How some lawmakers and people directly affected by abrupt closures are standing up to the governor. Well, a kid from Maine is showing off his skills in South Korea, but he's not an athlete. He's a world-renowned snowboard track designer. His job is awesome. We'll talk to him next. Warning, Olympic spoilers coming up.
Here's a look at the medal standings right now. Germany has climbed ahead of Norway for the first time in the 2018 Winter Games. Team USA still standing as number 5. All Olympic eyes were on American Shaun White last night as he competed in the finals of the halfpipe and ultimately took home the gold. One Maine man had an up-close and personal view of it all.
Oh, yes, he did. Check this out. It's a selfie video from Nick Roma, and that's Shaun White behind him competing in the background. Roma's from Wyndham. He went to Cheverus High School. He's the director of operations for White Industries and is tasked with designing, planning, and executing World Cup events all year round. It's the 3rd Olympic Games he has worked at, when that's not too bad for the self-described ski bum from Maine.
There were a few times when my folks were like, all right, buddy, like, you're having fun, but maybe it's time for a real job, you know? And I'm glad that they just kept believing in me and saying, all right, man, like, if you want to eat ramen for another month, that's fine. Like, we support you and we love you. And yeah, to be here now through the hard work, through the connections, through the people, like, and I never would have thought that was even possible, but it's taken me around the world. I've met some amazing people along the way, and I'm still a Maine boy at heart.
Awesome to hear from him. More from him coming up on the Olympic Zone. So the wind stealing some of the spotlight over in South Korea. Gusts of up to 50 miles an hour. They had to evacuate Olympic Park yesterday.
Here's Paul Gerke with the latest from South Korea. Hey, Paul.
Hey, good evening, Lee and Lindsay. It was a surreal scene here in the Olympic Park, although we did get to have Pizza Hut here in Korea because they shut down our chow hall here in the NBC compound. But it was no laughing matter for a little while there. The winds picking up, sustained around 20 miles per hour, gusting into 40, 50 miles per hour. And a lot of the structures here in the park are temporary, so anything that wasn't nailed down was blowing around, causing some trouble for spectators, so they had to get everyone out of here. The good news is, there's a double dose of good news. One is they reopened the park a couple hours later, and two, we're not expecting those winds to pick up again anytime soon, and that's great news for the athletes that have been waiting to compete. Although indoors, you don't have to worry much about the winds. You speed skating fans watching in prime time tonight get to watch world champion Heather Bergsma representing Team USA in the final of the 1,000 meter. Plus, the long program of the pairs figure skating competition. Now, Team USA is likely out of medal contention in that event, but it is one last chance to see those lovebirds, Chris and Alexa Knierim, skate, and on Valentine's Day, no less. Also on tap, the first heats of skeleton, in which Matt Antoine and John Daly hope to put the Americans on the podium for a second straight Winter Olympics. And we've got a big one on tap here on the ice, Team USA versus Team Canada, and what everyone expects to be the gold medal game in the women's hockey tournament. Both undefeated thus far. The Canadians have gotten the best of the Americans in 4 straight in the Olympics, including the last 2 gold medal games. We'll see if the Americans can send a message before tournament play begins. Both already have buys into the semifinals, guys.
All right, Paul, stay safe out there. Thank you very much. I am definitely watching that game tonight.
USA.
Yes.
All right. News Center Maine at 5:30 starts right now.